about Teejet. Mark was very gracious to give me the time to actually talk to you today. It was a little last minute for myself, but that's just what I mean. I want to talk a little bit about tip application and tip selection for those applications. We're trying to work on making it a lot easier for the user or farmer to have this conversation with our dealers, so it's a lot easier on both sides, the dealer side and the farmer side, to understand and make sure you're making the right decisions for what you need, what you're trying to apply, and the job you're trying to do. So we're coming out with some really neat graphics that kind of show what we're looking at here for tip options, different times of the season, different growth stages, and then also difference in what you're applying chemical-wise. So like I said, we're trying to really narrow down the options, so when you crack open a catalog and you're looking at the exhaustive list of tips and things, we're trying to really shorten that list and actually give you about 4 to 5 options that you can really kind of bear down and understand what's going on, what you're trying to accomplish, and not get lost in everything else when it really doesn't apply to what you're trying to do. Like I said, we're coming out with some really neat graphics. This is mostly for cereal grains here, wheat more specifically, but really this can carry through multiple different crops. As you can see, several of the tips transfer over between multiple different applications, so really, depending on which one you select and what specific chemical you're looking at applying for the year, you might be able to get away with 1 tip, maybe 2 tips out of the entire selection, right? And maybe we throw a third on for good measure, but this is still a conversation you need to have with the dealer, and a conversation you need to be prepared to have when you go to select these tips, and make sure you're reading your labels, understanding them, and really figuring out what you're trying to apply for chemical. But a lot of great options that we're seeing out there is the AI Turbo Twin Jet and the Turbo Twin Jet. I was just having a conversation with a gentleman in the back, and we were finding that those two work almost exactly for his needs and his application. The AIXR has been around for quite a while. It's still a great option, especially if you're really needing just a single flat fan. It gets you in those medium droplet sizes and larger, and make sure that we minimize the amount of drift. We also threw the Turbo Teejet induction in there, so the TTI. That tip also has been around. It's nothing new to the market. It's been around a long, long time. Probably older than myself, actually. But it's still a great option for multiple different applications here. I don't want to spend too long on going through each tip and what it's good for. If you want to do that, I urge you to go to the dealer, also understand your chemical label, and then have that conversation with them. I'm working with the dealers to provide training to them so they're prepared to have that conversation. And also you can see me at many of the farm shows throughout Canada too, and we can also have that conversation here. But I don't want to completely overdo that here. So, this is another great one. This is a lot newer graphic for us. So we came out with canola, and we're planning to do more of these. But again, you see a lot of the tips transfer over between the canola and then the cereal grains also. These tips also, again, kind of like the wheat one, it's more of a broadleaf plant in general, because if we looked at soybeans like we do in the States, a lot of this correlates with exactly what we're doing there. So not only for canola, but more broadleaf in general, but we're coming out with these crop specific. So, and as I said again, there's a lot of overlap, so it might end up being, when you look through those, we could get you down to just using 2 tips for the entire season. really dependent on your setup and application. So, and we'll talk about it here in a minute, but actually with the tip selection here, you can cover PWM options and non-PWM options. So we're not even going to shift away when we start going towards the PWM, because a lot of these tips are PWM approved already. So we can cover, we don't have to go to a whole other graph for PWM. As Lucas pointed out his application, we also have an application for Teejet. It's a very helpful tool, even to get an idea of what you're looking at, or to start thinking about the questions that you're going to need to have with your dealer to figure out your tips. It'll walk you through step by step and ask you certain questions to get you to where you need to be in the end. And it really helps narrow down the field, again, just like those graphics do, but it's in the palm of your hand at any time when you want to look it up. Very great resource. There's QR codes, so it's on the Teejet website, the QR code is, and then also in the normal Teejet catalog. So you can just scan the QR code and get it downloaded. PWM tips, so these are the approved tips by us. We did rigorous testing on PWM systems and narrowed down our list of tips to this list right here. So we don't approve every single tip that we have out there for PWM. It is this list specifically. The catalog 52 has this outline, that little symbol right there with the PWM approved and the little blue symbol there. That is on every page that the tips go through. It's on every page that they're approved for. So if it is okay to use for PWM and we stand behind it, then it will have that seal there in the middle. There's also a fantastic chart in the very front of the catalog 52 that also has a column for PWM specific, and there's check marks for the ones that we stand behind. So there has been the sentiment or kind of, I guess sentiment is the only thing I can think of, that you can't use air ducted tips on PWM. That's not true. We have tested these at our factory, and there are multiple tips on this list that are approved by us for PWM use. Every system for PWM is different. We can't really get around that, but from the testing that we've done and from what we've seen from that testing, we want to stand behind it and we want to say use these on PWM, whether it be ours or others. And then I want to talk a little bit about target spray. I know Dr. Tom Wolf already kind of covered some of this, but these are a few of the tips that we have out there approved for targeted spray. So targeted spray is like See and Spray for deer, and then there are multiple other terms, but targeted spray is the industry term for the overall blanket for See and Spray type. So these are just a few that we have done. We are coming out with more. There will be more released as time goes on, and we work with Deere, Case, and whoever wants to work with us on the OEM side to come out with tips specifically for their setups. Speaking of See and Spray, this is an actual document from Deere with Teejet tips on it and how they would like you to use it on that system. We worked with them, just like I was talking about previously, to get these squared away for approval by them. They did rigorous testing, and like I said, this isn't a document we're putting out as Teejet. This is actually from Deere themselves. So if you do start seeing more See and Spray machines, or you're considering this more and more, we do have Teejet approved tips already for these systems. So I want to talk quick about the QJ370D here. This is a new nozzle body for us. The core nozzle body is actually one that we've had out for a little while now. but we're adding this, let's see, yeah. So we're adding this extra outlet on here. This allows you to set that extra outlet in the rear to something specifically. We're seeing a lot of guys do like liquid fertilizer with this one and having a designated tip for that. And then using this valve to open and close it, so manual on off. And you just screw it open and it'll come out this way, and then you would rotate the turret to the off position or like in between position and just run that one in the rear, and then you can turn this one off and then turn the turret to the on position and then run the turret like you normally would. You can see here you can attach a solenoid onto the side for the turret and then have the manual one for the rear version. And then depending on your boom construction or configuration, you can swap these, so you can order it for the left side or the right side, depending on what you need to meet your setup. Multiple different size clamps there, and then it comes in a 3 and a 5, just like our normal one would. Right, and then this is another newer product for us. It's kind of coming just to the aftermarket side now. This is an electromagnetic flow meter, and I know we already touched on flow meters today, so I won't go into too terrible detail on it. But it is an electromagnetic flow meter. There is no obstruction in the flow path here. There is no direction on the flow path either, so you can mount it either way, whatever fits best for your setup. Plus or minus 2% accuracy, so very, very accurate in our testing. And we can get to 0.6 to 100 gallon per minute, and the liters are there also if you need it in liters. This is a 75 series Teejet flange or 200 banjo flange equivalent. Max pressure 200 psi. In our testing, we mounted elbows right after this, and it didn't have any effect on during our testing. Say your mileage may vary, and I kind of parrot what Chris, I believe, said before me, is that you probably do want to have a run before this, but I would say maybe not as much as what maybe he talked about. I think you could probably get away with that on this one. Just from what we've seen, we ran multiple different types through it. I even had guys running salt brine stuff through it too, and didn't really run into any issues during any of that testing. So feel pretty confident about it. We've been in the works with this for quite a while, and been very happy with the results of our testing and our customers as well. Comes in several different cable connections depending on what your needs are. This will drop into many OEMs today, so if you're running a turbine flow meter right now, this dimension is almost exactly the same as what you're running currently. And again, we have multiple different cable connections, so most likely plug into whatever you have right now. And I'm thinking, and I don't know this for sure because I can't speak for anybody else, but I'm pretty sure the price on this is better and your accuracy is going to be better than any turbine flow meter that you're running currently. Especially if you're doing PWM stuff, when we shut down multiple nozzles and we get down to 1 or 2 on only, we really need that low flow, and this is very accurate at those low flows. So this comes into its prime really with the PWM systems or any shutoff system that's cutting off a bunch of nozzles at once. So really great option there. It has LEDs on it too to tell you when you're receiving flow for troubleshooting, and then also a power indicator if it's receiving power. Here's just another summary. Again, I'm parroting what we've already heard today, but basically no risk of clogging. We've ran liquid fertilizer through this, let it dry in here, but really there's nothing for it to stick to or get caught up on, no moving components or anything like that. So if you are running liquid fertilizer or anything that can crystallize this is a great option for you because you're not having the constant maintenance that a normal turbine flow meter would experience. I will hear it again. I know I'm saying a lot of the stuff over that we've already kind of talked about today, but it does have to be a conductive liquid going through here, so petroleum products won't work, but anything mixed with water will work with this. So let's see here. Conducting fluid, yep. No calibration, field calibration needed. So that's kind of really nice. This is calibrated from factory by us, so it already has a specific designation. There's basically two options for calibration. It's a 1500 or a 950. 950 comes into play with some older rate controllers that couldn't do a 4-digit, couldn't punch in a 4-digit calibration number there. So we had to move to the 950 for some older rate controllers, so that way they could communicate with it. So there is different part numbers for that, so it'll be designated in the part number itself, so low risk of getting it mixed up between which is which. And that's all I've got for you. Yeah.